So today we have another review, and this is a beer from what they would like to call it. They call it Arrogant Consortium, but this is Stone Brewing. This is classic American, or not classic American craft beer. This is Arrogant Bastard. So this is sort of the weird thing that they try to make it a side project, but not really make it a side project. This is a Stone beer. This is Arrogant Bastard. You guys know it. This is 7.2%, sort of what they call like an American strong ale or something like that. And so let's dig into it. This now comes in a Stovepipe can. Not quite sure why you serve a 7.2% beer in a stovepipe, but who knows? So 19.2 ounces. Yeah. I hope you guys are familiar with this beer already. I'm sure a lot of you guys are. So let's dig into it.
Yeah, and this beer was actually canned in May. So it's actually still pretty fresh.
Canned in May, and then Best Buy in
August.
So we're about a month and a half from Best Buy. Really appreciate Stone for being so many years ahead of the game, just like very aggressive about their canning dates and also just their Best Buy dates. They generally go at 3-4 months. A lot of breweries push like 6 months, a year, even for hoppy beers. Even something a little bit more malty like this, they still only push 4 months on this one? 3 months?
Well, 8 minus 3 would be
3 months.
Or
excuse
8
me.
minus 5 would be 3.
Yeah, 3. So 3 months even on this beer. So they like it quite hoppy. Yeah. The beer comes in a deep amber color. That's what it's called. Like not really brown, but deep amber color.
Like a light roast coffee.
Yeah. It has a beautiful kind of like pure tan head on it. Mm-hmm. Beautiful head creation on the nose.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
It's earthy. It's a little piney. It has a little bit of zesty kind of grapefruit thing, a little bit of fruitiness dropping in there, but it has like big, deep notes.
Like, it almost doesn't smell like much to me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I get like the earthy, kind of
earthy,
almost
woodsy,
like coffee-ish.
A little bit from those darker malts that they're using, but it almost has like a, not quite cedar, but a woodsy kind of density to it.
Maybe more of an aspen.
Sure. Sort of like a dried wood forest thing. Yeah. Earthy, too. Yeah, a little bit soily. Cheers.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So this is a big, bombastic, 7.2% bitter beer. Not quite sure the IBUs on this one, but it's bitter.
I feel like somebody just extracted like the bitterness out of a pine tree.
Yeah. Very piney, bitter. This, again, I was speaking about it earlier. This was one of the earlier craft beers that I enjoyed, tried, and I was like, man, I didn't like this beer. This beer is bitter. This beer is full, let's say full bitterness. I can't imagine many beers commercially are produced to this bitterness. Not IBUs, but again, just like the where the beer is at. Just like, this is a bitter beer. It's Arrogant Bastard.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely got like an aromatic, like wood, like like you were saying, like cedar, aspen. I only know aspen because I'm the rats, but
yeah. Pet rats.
Pet rats.
Not just rats running around. Uh-oh.
we should get them in on a review sometime.
There's a maltiness to it, too.
Yeah. There's something in there that, like, I recognize, but I can't, like... Have you ever chewed on the popsicle stick? Like,
yeah,
on
sure.
a popsicle
stick?
Woodiness,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like, it's just like chewing
that
on
is pine.
Yeah. It's just like chewing on a... It's very dry.
Right? That's pine wood, right? Yeah.
I don't know, but it's very dry.
Yeah. Straight kind of popsicle-y, kind of like kind of woody bitterness. There is a beautiful kind of crystal malt character in here. There is that kind of like just syrupy, intense crystal malt. It's not pulling back on it, but the bitterness sort of drives it away. But it is definitely a sweet underneath behind it. Has these notes of like almost like a little bit of red berry. Also a really nice kind of a light, non-tart cranberry note in there. And then it has that kind of sweetness, and then that plays well into that kind of woody bitterness that drives in.
Okay, have you ever cracked a walnut? And then some of there's like the little pieces that like kind of separate
They're not the
two
flesh.
sides. It's
like
that
part,
it's in the middle. It separates the two sides of the walnut.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it tastes like.
Oh, I sort of know what you're talking about. Sort of makes sense. A little bit of toastiness, and again that.
But it's like super bitter. Like it's
super
not
bitter.
an actual part of the nut.
Oh,
it's part of the shell.
Super bitter. Yeah. Super astringent, slightly bitter.
That's
not astringent, but bitter.
That's the taste that I could not identify. But yeah,
so this beer is bitter. That's the point. Like that part is bitter. This beer is very bitter, and there's a little bit of malt in there. What are your final impressions and rating?
I mean, you kind of forewarned me that it was bitter, so I walked into this one anticipating that it was going to be a very bitter beer. I absolutely don't like part of the walnut that I was talking about.
That's fine.
There's a name for it.
Where do you find the bitterness on here? Is it too intense? Where's the malt looking for you? Like, what do you?
It's not awful. I think as a beer, it's pretty good. You know, it wasn't as bad as I was expecting. So
Sure.
I think you know, at least you set me up for it. So I still don't think I can confidently give this a high rating because it just isn't. Apparently, I am not worthy. I'm gonna have to go ahead and I'm gonna give this one maybe an 83.
Sure.
It's just too bitter for me.
Yeah. For me, it's a nice kind of throwback. The beer is so bitter. Like, I would love this beer being pushed back like at least a couple
50%.
dozen IBUs. Then again, you wouldn't have the harshness of it, and the malt will show a little bit more. And then at that point, you're sort of just making like something like Trogue's Nugget Nectar. It's sort of like an imperial-ish kind of red IPA, imperial red IPA. There's a lacking kind of citrusy tone that would love to offer more complexity to this one. This beer is decently just like a single tone on its bitterness. The hop qualities are just like woodsy, popsicle stick, and just like sitting on the wood, and earthy, and all those things. A little bit of a citrusy tone, like a little bit of dry hopping would offer a little bit more on this one. The malt is actually quite nice. What's underneath this beer is actually quite good. It has just a little bit of touch of sweetness, not overly dominating, not too cloying.
Definitely hangs out
Yeah.
on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, and the sweetness is actually beautiful. Like, it really is quite nice. It has a little bit of like caramelized sugar thing going on. It has a little bit of brown sugar, but just a hair, and really just sits at that kind of like kind of like toasted crust kind of thing, dancing around there, which is very beautiful. Very bitter beer. Probably the most bitter beer that I've reviewed in quite a while. I don't remember having anything remotely close to this bitterness. For me, this beer gets it's just like a well-constructed beer, but like I prefer adjustments to it.
Right.
So let's go with an 84 on this one.
Oh.
As you wait, actually, do you get a little bit of like coffee, acrid bitter, like not gross, but like a
Yeah,
little bit of coffee
like-
thing going on.
Like coffee, like old coffee.
Yeah,
like
old
old-
coffee, old coffee that just sat there, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, like you know,
for
maybe
sure,
you made it
for
at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you just got home from work at 6
And it's
o'clock
watered
at night.
down though.
Yeah,
Right, because it's not dark beer, it's watered down. It's actually a very complex beer. There's a lot of it about to think about, but just like in the end, like, what is this? And
you know, honestly, I think I'm gonna go ahead and bump this up because you know,
Oh, she's
like
bumping
now
it
that
up.
now that I'm sitting here and I'm like, I think I'm just being a bit of a bitch. I mean, I'm a snob. I'm gonna go ahead and say, you know, I think I'll give it a 78 because it's actually not terrible.
78.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not gonna like go.
I'm gonna bump it up. I'm gonna give it a 86.
I'm gonna bump you up.
86. You know, maybe I could readjust it, but the complexity's there. It's just not, you know, like why would you, man? You got to be a man, or not a man, but a woman. But like you got to be like, you know, like aggressive. You got to be an arrogant bastard to really enjoy this full stovepipe. So I guess they're marketing.
Yeah.
There you go. Enjoy bitterness. Enjoy this one. Super complex. Even if you don't enjoy bitterness, I do recommend that you try it out again, because I'm sure a lot of you guys have already tried it. Until next time, guys. Cheers. Later.